Today we are remembering the feast of the Holy Family. When we think of the Holy Family of Jesus, Mary and Joseph, something of that time and something of the religion and religious traditions we need to understand the role this family played, and also the role the families played during that time. And that is what we heard in the gospel of today. The religious traditions the family should undergo, especially when we remember the Holy Family today. What were the religious traditions? There were three important ceremonies in the family, especially that also happened in the life of Holy Family. What are those three important ceremonies we listen to? The Gospel of Luke starts with the verse 21, which I did not read today. I started with verse 22. The one verse before that introduces us the ceremony of circumcision and naming. That's the first ceremony of circumcision and naming. That is in the verse 21. I read after that actually. And the second ceremony is purification ceremony. That is in the verse 22. And the third one, presentation in the temple. That is verse 22 to 23. So these are the three important events that happened in the life of the Holy Family when Jesus was born. One is circumcision and naming. Second one, purification. And third one, the presentation in the temple. What are these actually? In order to understand the Holy Family well, you need to understand these three ceremonies well. Then only you will appreciate and understand the role Holy Family plays then and now. So what are the roles played in these three ceremonies? Now let us look at the ceremony called circumcision and naming. That is in the verse 21. I did not read that. That was not there in there, but it is there, the one verse before. Circumcision indicates Jesus was Jewish. That means he is fully man and Jewish man. And that is a very sacred ceremony in the Jewish religion, circumcision. That comes 8th day after Jesus' birth. Normally circumcision happens 8th day after Jesus' birth. Then along with that, naming the child. Name of Jesus is called Jesus, given by angel and told to Joseph, and Joseph was the one who named Jesus with this name, because it is the prerogative of the father of the family to name the child. So Joseph named him as Jesus, as told by angel. Jesus means in Hebrew Yeshua. Yeshua means, or Joshua means, God saves. So we have the saving presence of God with this Christmas and with this sacred ceremony called circumcision and naming. It is some circumcision. Let's put something like the child is introduced into the religious tradition with the first act, something like a baptism, entering into the religion, entering into the faith, something like a baptism. That's why even today in our baptism, if you have seen baptismal font, it will have 8 sides, octagonal shape. Next time when you go to a church, this church we don't have baptismal font, but when you go to a parish, you will see baptismal font will have 8 sides. Why? 8th day circumcision happens, and also with baptism we are entering into the church, and the church that saves us. And why 8 again? Because in the Noah's time 8 people were saved. 8 people were saved. The rest were all animals and other things. Human beings 8. Noah and his wife and the 3 children and their spouses. So 8 people were saved. That's why we enter into the church after 8th day. Exactly like a Jewish tradition, 8th day circumcision. Okay, that's the first ceremony. Second ceremony is the purification. Purification of whom? Not Joseph. Purification of Mother Mary. Now when you think of purification of Mother Mary, that happens 1 month after the circumcision and naming. That means about 40th day, purification. This is happening officially in our liturgical calendar, February 2nd, which we call purification presentation. So first part is purification, purification of Mother Mary. Now when we think or say purification of Mother Mary, that means Mary was with the sin, now she is purified. No, don't think in that way. Mary was with the sin and she need to be purified, this purification. No, it is a very, very sacred ritual, sacred tradition. To understand this, we need to understand the two words that we use in English. What is these two words? Because for the purification, Mary and Joseph with the child, they had to go from Bethlehem to Jerusalem temple, and it is about 8 kilometers. They have to go there. And what happens during the purification? Purification is not Mary was sinful and she is purified of the sins. No, it is a sacred tradition. Every birth is very important. It is something to do with something sacred and something profane, something mundane and something sacred. Means the words used in English is profane, opposite of sacred. Profane, the English word is coming from Latin and is coming from Jewish tradition. What is this word profane? It's coming from two words, pro and phanum. Phanum in Latin means temple, pro, outside. So outside the temple, temple is sacred space. So profane is outside the temple, sacred space. Now what is this purification? Purification is Mother Mary, every woman who gives birth shares in the act of creation of God, because we are bringing a child. So every mother is actually sharing in the creation of God. That means she shares in the sacredness of the act of God. Mother Mary, every mother for that reason. So even to enter the temple and all that, even priests have to purify themselves, because sacred space. So Mother Mary is already in the sacred space with the birth of Jesus. Now that purification is to reverse the purification, reverse the sacredness. So she becomes ordinary mother like us. So that purification process was done after 1 month. Not because of sinfulness, it is the sacred act, because she is part of the sacred act, the sacred space of the temple. The profane means she is now with this ceremony becomes like any other woman. So that is sacredness and purification. And at this time they have to give something to the temple. It is given in the book of Leviticus, what they have to give. Rich people will have to give a 1-year-old lamb. Rich people, they have to give to the temple, something like our tithe and Sunday collection that we give. They have to give 1-year-old lamb or a pair of turtle doves, or turtle dove or a pigeon along with that. Poor people, it is mentioned by Moses, they can give a pair of turtle doves, 2 young birds. They cannot afford to give a lamb. And it is said Holy Family gave a pair of turtle. That indicates Holy Family was very poor. They could not afford to give a lamb to the temple as an offering. So they gave 2 young birds as a kind of offering. So that is what Joseph and Mary did. Keep all this in mind, because this will come a kind of lesson for all of us families. So Holy Family was very poor. Third ceremony is presentation. What is presentation? Presentation is given in the Bible again, in the book of Exodus. I will read that passage. What is this presentation indicate? It's in the verse 22-23. We listen. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "Consecrate all the firstborn to me, the first birth from every womb among the Israelites, whether human or animal, it is mine. All the firstborns are the Lord's, not ours." All the firstborn children belong to God. And not only human beings, even animals, even trees and plants. I still remember in my house the first coconut tree planted, and it yielded coconuts. I must be 6 or 7-year-old boy at that time. And I still remember my mother telling the first coconut that came, from the first coconut tree. Don't use it here. She told me, go and give to the church. And I had to carry that coconut to the church, in fact. Because first fruit belongs to the temple, belongs to the Lord. Temple or church means belongs to the Lord. We don't use that one. That Lord takes it. So it's a symbolic thing we give to the church. So first fruit, this is in the Bible. First fruit, first human child, male child especially, belong to the everything first one. So that is the presentation. And what is the process of this presentation? So Jesus, or the firstborn, is of the Lord's, not of Joseph and Mary. They cannot own Jesus. So what to do? They have to do a kind of ceremony among all the Jewish families. They have to buy back from the Lord the firstborn. Otherwise, they cannot say this firstborn is mine, because firstborn is of God's property. So what they do? They buy from the temple, buy back from the temple, their firstborn back to their family. So for which they had to pay some amount to the temple. Though the details are not mentioned by Luke, it is mentioned in the again in the book of Exodus, how much they had to give. 5 shekels. Shekels are temple currency. 5 shekels. 5 shekels will come around 20 denarii. 20 denarii will come 20 days of daily wage of that time. 1 denarius is a 1 day wage at that time. So 20 denarii means almost more than a half a month daily wage they have to give to the temple in order to buy back their son, okay, from the temple. So that's a symbolic act. This is mentioned in the Old Testament, not by Luke. So these are the 3 things that are happening. Now one may wonder, that means 8th day circumcision, naming. And 1 month after, there is purification ceremony. Then presenting. So when did they go to Egypt? We find in the gospel, Herod was trying to kill the firstborn, and Joseph and Mary went to Egypt. So what? Then when they went to Egypt, how did they go to Jerusalem and all? So you need to understand few things here. First of all, probably the flight to Egypt happened after all this, actually, not immediately. So you have to remember, when the Magi came to meet Herod, it took few days. By the time Jesus was born, and they met Herod, and to reach Bethlehem it would have taken few days, and also go back, and the Herod to know that they have gone back, it must have taken another few days. So it all happened not immediately on the same day when Jesus was born, few days after Jesus was born. Meanwhile, all these ceremonies took place. The presentation, purification, and naming and circumcision. So don't think that Magi came on the same day Jesus was born. Probably later days, few weeks later or few months later. And also going to Egypt and all that, Matthew only speaks about that. Matthew presents Jesus and new Moses. There is a link between old Moses and the present Jesus as the new Moses. Egypt slavery and Jesus going to Egypt, Herod as something like a Pharaoh day, and all those things interconnect. And during this time, the firstborn are all killed. Pharaohs, Egyptians are killed there. Here children are killed. So there is a similarity between the Moses time and Jesus time. So Matthew presents another meaning of Jesus, a new Moses. So we need to understand in that context. But these 3 ceremonies indicate to us 3 important lessons for us families. First lesson, I would like to speak our first lesson. We are not owners of our children. Remember this. There are parents sitting here, there are parents listening to this mass. Remember, your children are not yours. They all belong to God. Not only children, all of us are the Lord's property. So please don't control our children like you are the owner of their children, nobody else. First and foremost, our children belong to God. I'll just read what one Father Ronald spoke about this. He says this: the children we have are not really ours. They are given to us in trust for a time, a short time really, and we are asked to be mothers and fathers, mentors, guardians, protectors, teachers, and friends to them. But they are never really our children. If we understand this, we will be less inclined to act as owners, to manipulate our own children for our own needs, to see them as satellites within our own orbits. So some parents, keep them control around them, and they should be around them like the parents, like the sun, and they are like a moon moving around. That is not the type. Control. They are actually of God's. We are only caretakers. We are only actually, part-time. But we are responsible for them. We are responsible, and we leave our impressions and image on them. We have that responsibility towards them. I'll just give you a photo there, a child being swirled by his father, and the camera is taken from the father's chest where the camera kept. And if you look into the eyes of that girl who was swirled around, you can see in her eyes the image of the father. That is what we do to our children, and we have to do to our children. Our images leave a lasting impression in our children. Not as controllers and owners, we have a responsibility to leave our image, something of our life, to our children. So that is first thing. Second thing, we are formators of faith to our children. We are not so much giving them whatever they want, but forming them, grooming them, helping them to become mature in faith and life. And this is what the Bible says, today's gospel. The child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. This is what St. Luke says, and I completed the gospel reading today with this verse. The child grew in wisdom and knowledge. That is what the parents did to Jesus, and that is what we need to do. The child has to grow in wisdom and fear of the Lord. That means we are formators of faith. Every parent, every adult, formators of faith. The child did not learn from the school. Child learned basic things of life, rudiments of life from the family. From the family. And we awaken the faith of the children. Faith is received with the baptism. Here with these ceremonies in the temple. Now that may be dormant in the children. It is our duty as parents to awaken that faith and nurture that faith and foster that faith in the children. And that is our duty. This is how Jesus grew. 30 years in the family. So family has got a big role to play in the growth of the children, especially forming their faith. Forming the faith. The child did not grow in the church. The child grew in the family. In the family. Family plays a very important role before church plays, before school plays a role. The family. That's the most important thing we need to learn. Third point we need to learn is we are not perfect. Not even our families. We are not perfect, not even our families. Holy Family had their own struggles of poverty, sufferings, and lot of struggles they had. So they were not perfect. They had a lot of struggles to go through. Holy Family. They were poor. We heard already that. And they had a lot of uncertainties in their lives. That is part of the family life. And no family is perfect. Don't think that the other family is better than our family. See how they live, husband and wife, children, so happy they are. Our family always fight. That fellow does not look at me, this fellow does not look at me, children don't obey us, and all that. We think in that line, and we think the other family is better. No family is better. No family is perfect. There is no perfect family. I remember one of the quotations of Billy Graham. Billy Graham is a Protestant evangelist recently who died. He says, there is no perfect family out there. There is no perfect family out there. And if you find one perfect family, I would suggest go and join that family. From that time onwards, it will be imperfect. So you try that one. If you find a perfect family, go and join that family. Then it will be imperfect. Because each one of us is imperfect. So don't think that we are perfect or our families are perfect. Pope Francis has very beautiful words about family. In 2014, during the Valentine Day, on this Valentine Day, February 14, he addressed the couples, young couples. in Vatican. This is what he said. Very beautiful words. Okay, I'll just give you these words. He says, the perfect family does not exist, nor is there a perfect husband or a perfect wife. Or let's not talk about the perfect mother-in-law. That is still far-fetched reality. Perfect mother-in-law. Maybe the best mother-in-law was Naomi in the Old Testament, who was a good mother-in-law to her daughter-in-law Ruth, from whom Jesus was born. Otherwise, all the mother-in-laws, we know what happens. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law fight. And so Pope Francis says, there is no perfect husband, there is no perfect wife, there is no perfect mother-in-law. It's just us sinners. We are all sinners, Pope says. A healthy family life requires frequent use of three phrases. And he gives three phrases. What are they? May I, that means please, sorry, and thank you. Use these words very often in the family because we are not perfect. So we have to use please. Don't demand and command and reprimand people. Just say please. Use the language with mercy and kindness. Say thank you when somebody does something good. Appreciate that people. And sorry. It is very tough to admit our mistake. Say sorry because we are not perfect, and receive and accept each other. And Pope continues, and never, never, never end the day without making peace. He tells the couples. Suppose you have fight and all that, don't go to bed with that anger and revenge and ill feeling. Reconcile with each other. Plates may fly in the house. Pope Francis, it's not my words, Pope Francis says, plates may fly in the house in the fight and does not matter. But end the day well by making peace with each other. Because we are not perfect. We are not perfect. That's a great lesson to learn. So to conclude, education does not mean filling up our children with everything that we want to give to the children. Eat this, learn this, study this, and don't go there, don't do this. That is not education. That is not education. The real meaning of education, coming from the Latin word educare. Educare means to lead out. To lead out. That's the role of parents. To lead out. How do we lead out? I'll illustrate with an example. There is something called Death Valley in America, USA. Death Valley. Death Valley is in California. It is the driest, hottest, and let's say lowest place in America. Driest, no rain, nothing. And if you Google in net and just type Death Valley, you will find the photos of dry place, no trees, no grass, not even a blade of grass, no green, nothing, just dry area, something like a moon and Mars. Nothing grows there. I am not going to moon and Mars on these photos, So like that, dry, nothing. That's called Death Valley. It is a national park in America. Nothing grows, no rain, etc. But something happened in Death Valley. That's what I want to tell you. In 2004 winter, there was a torrential rain of 8 inches of rain in 2004 in winter. And what happened after that? In 2005 springtime, Death Valley was transformed into colors and flowers. There was life again just because of one rain. For so many years, nothing happened. And colors and flowers. So, that is a lesson for all of us actually. Death Valley isn't dead but dormant. Also, our children's faith and life, they are dormant. It is up to us to wake them up and kindle in them the fire of faith and life. And that is our role.